When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Makoni Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flags Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Makoni Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Makoni Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MakoniSetupShop.com and learn why Makoni Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Have you joined the fastest growing fantasy motorsports app yet? On Grid Rival, you can join leagues with your friends and manage your own fantasy team on what race fans are calling, hands down, the best fantasy motorsport app out there. F1 and MotoGP leagues are now live for the 2021 season. Joining a league on Grid Rival will make every race more exciting, more engaging, and of course, more competitive. Download Grid Rival now on your iPhone or Android smartphone. Grid Rival is an unofficial application and not associated with Formula One, MotoGP, or any of their athletes.
If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage. Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact-resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Hello everyone and welcome to round 5 of season 2 of the Dallara X-Treme series presented by Baldwin Agriland. Tonight we are live from the greatest racetrack in the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy 150. My name is Patrick Byrne and joining me tonight in the booth is Connor Baldwin. Tonight the drivers of DXS will take on the largest track in the schedule. The nearly 112-year-old racetrack will see these cars racing around at 210 miles an hour for 60 laps. Now, as qualifying is about to start, let's bring in my partner, Connor. So, Connor, what do you think the strategies are going to be tonight from our points leaders, Derek Love and James Curtis? Will they lay back and try to avoid the chaos in front, or will they try to start up front and stay ahead of the possible carnage?
Thank you, Patrick. I think the strategies they're going to be employing is just be laying at the back, especially because they have that one fast repair. I think just making sure that they can dodge everything in front and still be in that 1 second draft. I think that's really what they're going to be looking for tonight.
See, I'm going to take the flip side on you here. I think the goal is to just stay up front the entire race. You're going to have huge drafts, huge runs coming from behind. But as long as you're not making huge blocks, doing anything crazy, I think you'll be quite all right up there. As we see RJ Hetke running around the access road for qualifying. Now, this is allowed for qualifying in this series. Actually, I don't believe that's RJ's car. Never mind that. You are allowed to use the access roads. You will see all of these drivers using the access roads for qualifying. However, it is not allowed for the race itself. These cars make enough downforce and they suck themselves to the track so well that they could just run flat out all the way down there. Seeing this in person, it'd probably blow my mind, but here on the simulator, anything's possible.
Nicholas Cedro and Christopher Kresge in P2 and P3 as well as they're coming around for their final lap. I don't think RJ Hedke here is going to be able to improve on his time. I don't think Kresge finished his second lap. I think he took a tow. Interesting.
A little bit interesting there. I would expect to see these drivers trying to stay out for that fourth lap, try and burn as much fuel off as they can, and try to get that quickest lap on the fourth one. RJ Hetke still holding the lead at a 44.02. Christopher Kresge following right behind at a 44.03.
James Watson did not set a time with his first... Oh, wait, never mind. There we go. Now his lap time came up, so he goes third fastest.
James Watson, only 3/1000ths of a second slower than Christopher Kresge. I wouldn't be surprised if Watson has another couple seconds up his sleeve and might even surpass RJ Hetke on this lap. James Watson not going to do it this time around.
No, he went. Looks like 700ths of a second slower there. Quite a few cars. Oh, now I remember why. It's because it's 4 laps of qualifying total. So these drivers are going to use all the possible laps they have to try and set a better time. And that might have been a smart move from Kresge, taking the tow back into the pits and getting fresh tires for another lap.
Yeah, it's possible we're seeing the scrub from running that flatter, much tighter line actually start to wear and overheat these tires over the course of a lap or two during qualifying. They might not be able to hold it flat out down there. James Watson's third lap still does not improve his position, still going to be in the third position. Let's see what he can do one last time.
Kresge finishing up his 4th lap here, and he is not going to be able to improve either. Picking up, and that's the end of qualifying there.
So for your rundown, it's going to be RJ Hetke starting on the pole position. Joining him on row 1 will be Christopher Kresge on the inside, on the middle, and James Watson on the outside. We are doing a 3-wide start tonight. Row 2 will have Nicholas Cedro on the inside, Cullen Johnson in the middle, Robert Anderson on the high side. Row number 3 will have Ty Richter on the inside, TJ McMurray starting in the middle, and Elijah Travis starting on the high side. Row number 4 will have James Curtis, Bill Walker, and Derek Love, and that's going to round out your top 12.
Yep, a couple of non-qualifiers there. Nick Simone wasn't able to get a lap in, neither was Jeffrey Davis or Mackenzie Galida, so we only have 12 cars currently on the grid here.
Now, one thing that's interesting to note in this series, you'll see Andrew Acera's name there. He is not a racer in this series. He is our series admin. What he is doing being on the track, or not really on the track, he has to register in the Radical. It is an old damage model car. We have to run these things on old damage model on the oval, so that is what we do to force them onto old damage model. Just because with the new damage model, the net code is really, really bad on these ovals, running as close as these cars do. So we try everything in our power to try and make it so these drivers can run as tight and as close as possible together.
Really interesting seeing Nick Simone not gridding up yet with 30 seconds left, considering he did run, he was on the track for qualifying at the very end. Hopefully he can get in time.
I believe I just saw he might be having some technical issues right now.
Ah, it's unfortunate. Oh, there he goes.
just in time.
So Jeffrey Davis and Mackenzie Galida not gridding up, so they will have to start from the pits.
James Watson not getting that high side just yet. I wonder if there's a little confusion between the drivers about what exactly their order is. Thankfully, we can add pace laps to this, try and get everything sorted out, as James now does move to that high side.
Yes, that is one of the new things that iRacing put in, is you're able to subtract or add in new or more pace laps if needed. Nick Simone in the back, he is going to have a great opportunity here, being able to pick whichever lane he wants to go into.
Oh, absolutely. He has the advantage if he can just lay back, sit and wait, just in case anything were to happen going into turn 1 on lap 1. As the pace car comes through turn 3, the drivers are bursting with anticipation, waiting for this thing to get on. I mean, these are 900 horsepower cars. They absolutely want to kill you as soon as you get on the gas, and it just hurts to try and drive these things going 55, 65 miles an hour around here. Pace car rounds out turn 4. Pace car will be coming into the pits this time. As always, ladies and gentlemen, on the National Racing Network, the first lap is yours. As we see, they're too wide fighting for the lead still after just one lap. I mean, the whole field is still in a pack. There is only 2 seconds separating the first place RJ Hetge and the 13th place Bill Walker. I mean, these guys are nose to tail the entire way back. And just listening to this pack of screaming V10s, it almost sounds like an angry pack of bumblebees just coming at you. Except these things, they fly a lot faster than bumblebees, I'll tell you that. Field seems to have evened out a little bit. We're going single file as looks like Nick Sidra is still looking towards the high side on Christopher Kresge, trying to get around, but he doesn't have any drafting help just to make it quite yet.
I think we're really starting to see the fuel strategies these different drivers will be running already starting to play out here. Some of them deciding to sit in the back, save as much fuel as possible, and try and make as few stops as possible, while others are like, I don't want to just sit, I want to go race for the lead.
Now, you can see how effective draft is. Bill Walker, being that car all the way at the tail end of the field, just set the fastest lap of the race. He is about 3 or 4 tenths faster than any other car in the field, and almost half a second faster than the leaders just sitting back there. It just shows how easy it is to progress your way up through this field, just like stock cars racing at Daytona or Talladega, except this is a lot more dangerous.
Well, something big to be looking for here is the wind is 14 miles an hour coming out of the south, blowing towards the north. And the way that front stretch is, the drivers are going to be driving head-on into that wind. So the drivers that are going to be in the draft are going to get an even bigger run than down the backstretch. So I think as we come down to the closing laps of the race, we will really see some big passes trying to be made down the front stretch.
Oh, absolutely. And running around at 200 miles an hour, that air is just like water. And when you bump in that wind into the equation, it's almost like trying to drive these cars through maple syrup. So if you have a draft going through there, you're still flowing through air instead of that maple syrup. As we have a new leader, Nicholas Isidro and Robert Anderson, both passing RJ Hetke. Nicholas Isidro is going to be a race leader for lap number 5.
Ooh, that was still really close. Robert Anderson passed him after the start-finish line. But Isidro's going to get credit for that lap led.
Still going to be fighting back and forth. RJ Hetke is hungry. He wants to hold on to that lead. He is going to look and try everything in his power to get there. 3 wide fighting for the lead now.
Huge run from Poland down the backstretch. I'm not sure he's going to be able to hang on to that momentum on the high side during the turns. And yeah, it looks like he's dropping way back.
Yep, Cullen had to back out of it. He's going to be hung out to dry. As now we have a single file fight, everyone just falling back in line. As we see a huge Bizzle car almost forced down into the pit lane. Thankfully, everyone was able to make it out okay. Back into the front stretch they go.
That is going to be very nerve-wracking for those cars on the inside. They're having to trust the car in front that they're not going into that pit attenuator.
These cars were not made to run at these speeds for this long. They're not made for ovals. They're made for road course. So there's a really quick steering ratio in these steering boxes. So any little tiny twitch of the steering wheel can almost send you up all the way to that outside wall or all the way back down to the inside line. So the amount of precision these drivers need to have just to not be bumping into each other like we're playing bumper cars here is immense. I mean, the talent it takes to just get good at driving these cars in a straight line is tremendous. As now they are 3 wide fighting for a second. Looks like Christopher Kresge is still fighting down there on the inside line. He's going to have the run coming out of the corner on Nicholas Isidro. Can't make the move work, can't get below that white line. He's going to have to back out of it. Robert Anderson coming around on the high side. Will he have the run to pass Nicholas Isidro going around? Looks like Isidro's going to have a little bit more help, but no, Anderson's going to just edge him out right there down the front, back straightaway, excuse me. But Isidro's got the preferred line going into turn number 3. He is going to seal the deal and close out the position once more.
Taking a look at the dashboard, Nicholas Isidro, our leader, is running 200 miles an hour down the front stretch. But if we go further in the pack, say Thaddeus McMurray here, who's in the draft, he's running, I guess he is running 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, the further back you go, actually, you can expect to see the speeds increase. There is much less air resistance back there than there is at the front of the field. That draft just multiplies the farther back you get in the field, which is why we see these huge packs and bump drafting be so effective in NASCAR. It is the same thing in these cars, except these cars don't have to bump because the wings are so huge, you get the same effect without making contact.
And it's very dangerous to be bump drafting, as we learned last year here at Indy. RJ Hetke sent James Watson into the water trying to bump draft.
Yeah, it can be done, but not for very long.
I thought Kresge was about to make it 4 wide there. That would have been spectacular.
So we're now 2 by 2, 2 rows back. And holy cow, these drivers are just fighting. It was talked about when IndyCar used to go to the Richmond Motor Speedway that it was like driving jet fighters. Car way down to the inside line. Able to save it back on the racetrack. That was incredible.
Oh, that was very close. I'm not sure who that was. It may have been... I honestly don't know who that was. Maybe James Watson? Oh, big wreck! Big wreck! Oh, multiple cars.
Flipping down the front stretch. Looks like it's going to be Robert Anderson and Christopher Kresge. I'd like to see a replay of that one and see just what happened there.
Let's take a look at Kresge here with the Hot Shoe Raceway replay.
Just a little bit of contact, just both cars get rocketed all around this racetrack. Like I was saying before, it's like trying to fly jet fighters in a gymnasium. That's exactly... And it appears we're back. My apologies for that. It appears we had some technical difficulties. Nothing our awesome tech team couldn't handle. And here we are back on track. It looks like every car in the field has decided to come down that pit lane. does look like Nicholas Isidro is going to win the race off pit road. He has the fastest pit stop time of a 5.3 second pit stop. That is just blisteringly fast. That's very similar to the pit times we saw in Formula One in the late 90s and early 2000s, which is what this car is almost based off of, which is really impressive to see. I mean, that's probably a record here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As we see a little bit of cone assault further back in the field, I mean, I don't know why drivers on iRacing choose to just keep destroying these cones. Everybody loves the cones. They're not there to hurt anybody. They're just there to tell you where to go, and people just like to run them over and throw them to the fans. It's almost like catching a foul ball at a baseball game.
And it's really risky because those cones can get stuck on your front wing or get stuck under your car, and they'll slow you way down.
That's true. The biggest thing of note I can think of like that is if you ever race the Monza Oval here on iRacing, which we are considering for season number 3 of the Dallara X-Treme series, there are these like white foam barriers there, and if you dare touch one of those with one of your wings, it will be stuck on your car for all of eternity. It will not come off, and it'll take about 15 to 20 miles an hour off your top speed and absolutely ruin your race.
Seems like Robert Anderson's still in the pits. He might have had to take a tow.
I believe so. That was really, really hard contact by that car. He was just sent up into that outside wall. I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to wheel that backup car just from the back of the garage. They might even have parked on the outfield and had to tow it in through the tunnel. I mean, that car, I don't think it's very fixable right now.
Luckily, the drivers here do have fast repair, and I think he just got off of pit road. There he is now.
Both him and Christopher Kresge will be scored one lap down. Thankfully, these drivers do have an opportunity to get their lap back. Hopefully, if we have another caution, those guys can get back up to the lead lap and rejoin this fight for the lead.
Here we are getting ready for the start. 2 wide here instead of a 3 wide start.
Even with them only being 2 wide, I expect to see the same chaos and the same calamity as we saw in the main start. Even though there wasn't contact at the main start, these drivers were just dogfighting out there, passing back and forth, running side by side. I expect them to start doing the same exact thing as soon as that green flag drops.
Oh, I am fully expecting RJ Hedke and James Watson on that outside line to absolutely send it in turn 1 and 2, trying to get ahead.
RJ Hedke, one of the most aggressive drivers in the series. Extremely talented driver, but sometimes just makes moves that weren't really there, going for those Pastor Maldonado gaps. But this season,